When teaching home language in the intermediate phase, it's essential that we know what CAPS requires us to do and what the outline is of the actual subject. So let's have a look and see, what do teachers need to keep in mind? Well, the first is the difference between home language and first additional language doesn't refer to the language itself, but rather to the level of skill at which we're teaching. Learners need to develop basic interpersonal communication skills and cognitive academic skills. These will have started to be developed in your foundation phase, and we need to build on these in intermediate phase. And of course, our biggest challenge is that we want our learners to have the ability to analyze on an abstract level for a better understanding of the world. Now, home language is divided into 4 sections: your listening and speaking, reading and viewing, writing and presenting, and then of course your language structures and conventions, which is integrated into the other 3. Under listening and speaking, you've got those 5 critical aspects of it, which we need to make sure we reinforce in all the topics we teach. Reading and viewing, of course, is essential, and our learners need to read as much as possible in every aspect of the language lessons. Writing and presenting is just as critical, and we need to give the learners enough practice in this so they become confident in what they write. And then, of course, your language structures and conventions is integrated into everything else and should be taught in conjunction and in context with the skill mentioned. This all takes place over 6 hours per week. And if you have a look at the next slide, it's divided in grade 4, 5, and 6 into the different allocations in a 2-week cycle. So you're spending about 1% on listening and speaking, 42% on reading and viewing, 34% on writing and presenting, and 8% on language structures, which of course, as we said, is integrated. If we have a look at the formal assessment tasks, these include a variety of different tasks, and it's essential that we do include all of these. The tools available for us to use in formal assessment include 4 different types, and it's quite good to use a variety of these, but we need to use them appropriately. So of course, a memorandum you'd use where there's more content-based assessments and where there's a correct or incorrect answer. Your rubric, on the other hand, is where there's a variety of application levels of the skill. Make sure that your assessment tool is well suited to assess the formal activity effectively. There are other certain things that we need to bear in mind when teaching English. The first is that the weighting of smaller activities per task are given in percentages or even in marks. The final allocation of marks should reflect the weighting of the activity. But what is quite interesting is schools are not limited to the amount of marks allocated to a skill. Make sure that your daily assessment is done on an ongoing basis, as this is so important to monitor teaching and learning.